Now we're going to multiply 452 times 3 using our area model. So the first thing we want to do is we want to draw a rectangle. And since our number 452 has 3 place values, hundreds place, tens place, ones place, we're going to split our rectangle into 3 pieces. The bigger piece will represent our hundreds place. This middle piece, which is a little bit smaller, will represent our tens place. And this smaller piece will represent our ones place. So we're going to use our knowledge of the area formula to help us solve this multiplication problem. So we can think of this multiplication problem as our area formula. We're going to label our number 452 as the length and the number 3 as our width, because we know area equals length times width. So now to label our rectangle, we're going to label this width 3. And we're going to label this length as a total of 452. But we're going to break apart the number 452 by the values of each digit. So we see that we have a 4 in the hundreds place. So that is going to represent 400 as our first piece. In our tens place, we have 5. So that's going to represent 50 in our second piece. And we have a 2 in the ones place, and that will represent 2 in this piece. So we can see that the total length of this side is 452, but we just split it up by the value of each digit, 450 and 2. So now to solve for the total area of our rectangle, which will give us our answer for 452 times 3, we need to find the area of each of these smaller rectangles, then add them together. All right, so first we're going to start off with this rectangle. We see that it has the side lengths 3 times 400. So we're going to multiply 3 times 400, which equals this area of 1,200. Now we're going to figure out the area of this rectangle. We see it has side lengths of 3 and 50. So we're going to multiply 3 times 50. And our area for this rectangle will be 150. And now let's solve for the area of this rectangle. We see it has the side lengths of 3 and 2. So we're going to multiply 3 times 2 to get the area of this rectangle. And when we multiply 3 times 2, that equals 6. So now that we have found each area for our 3 rectangles, let's represent that using a multiplication sentence down below. So we can show that we are multiplying our width of 3 times each of our pieces, each of those smaller pieces of the lengths. So we would represent this as 3 and then put a parentheses next to it. And when you see a number next to a parentheses, we know that means multiplication. So 3 times our first piece, which was 400. And then we're going to add our second area to that. So we're going to say plus, and our second piece was 50. So 3 times 50. And then we're going to add our third piece, which was 3 times 2. And we're going to close it with a parentheses. So we see that we're multiplying 3 times the hundreds place, times the tens place, times the ones place. You can also show this multiplication sentence separately by showing 3 times each of these numbers. You can show it as 3 times 400 as the first piece, plus 3 times 50 as our second piece, plus 3 times 2 as our third piece. So you can write the multiplication sentence either way to represent what we have figured out in our area model. Now, our final step is we're going to add these 3 areas together to get our final answer, the total area of our rectangle. So I'm going to set up my numbers using our standard algorithm for addition. $1,200 plus $150 plus 6. So now I'm going to add the ones place. 0 plus 6 plus 0 equals 6. Our tens place. 0 plus 5 equals 5. Our hundreds place. 2 plus 1 equals 3. And our thousands place. 1 plus nothing or 0 equals 1. So we see that our final answer, when we added our 3 separate areas together, we got a total area of 1,356, which is our final answer of when we multiplied 452 times 3.